Hi, Rhinos. Jen here. If you don't know me, I'm one of the owners here at Camp Rhino, and I just wanted to reach out and speak to you guys about something that's been on my heart a little bit. I've been talking to a lot of our members over the last couple of weeks since we've been out of the gym site, the physical site, and since we've gone virtual. And I'm reaching out to all of our members. So if you haven't heard from me yet, or for one of our coaches yet, you will be hearing from one of us soon. Please check your voicemails because a lot of people don't check their phones anymore. But in the conversations that I'm having, there's a lot of things that are very, very similar that we're all going through. And I just kind of wanted to speak to some of the thoughts I've been having and something on my heart since I've been having these conversations, because a lot of us are experiencing the same types of things. There's something very unique about the situation that we're all in right now. And that's that as a collective, we're all in this together. Now, obviously, everybody's situation in this is very different. So this affects all of us very differently. Some of our closest members are in healthcare, and I can't even imagine what it is like in healthcare right now. You took an oath to save lives, and now you probably didn't expect necessarily to have to put yourselves on the line every day for that at the time that you took that oath, and you're doing it. You're going out there. We respect you. We love you. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing. And my hope on the opposite side of that is that anybody that's not an essential worker right now is staying home and doing our part to be able to protect the people that are out there to the best that we can. There's nothing some of us can do, and that leaves it leaves a feeling of helplessness. That's something that a lot of people have kind of talked about, is that they feel like they're not doing anything to help. I know I feel that. It's my nature is to want to help and fix things and solve things, and to sit at home doesn't feel natural. To be at home in quarantine and, to have your job be to just stay at home, it just doesn't feel natural for those of us that want to be able to be on the front line and want to be able to help people. Again, I'm not taking that lightly. I can't even fathom what it's like out there. So thank you to those of you that are still working. Thank you to those of you that are in healthcare. Thank you to those of you that are in all the other essential positions that are out there keeping our country running. We just really, really, really appreciate you. And there is another essential business that's not an essential business on site, and that's healthcare. Not healthcare in the medical industry, but healthcare in the fitness industry. Staying fit, staying healthy is so important right now for those people that are going through this or are about to go through this, because a lot of us are probably going to get sick at some point. For those of us about to go through this, it's so important that we're at the top of our health game right now. We need to keep our lungs healthy. We need to keep our whole body healthy. We need to be eating good food. We need to be getting sunlight when you can in safe ways. We need to be working out and stressing our lungs and stressing our bodies so that we can stay strong for this, because when we do get it, we want to be our best, right? So our health right now is so, so, so important. And it's the worst time ever to kind of push that aside and get off track with it. So it's so, so important that we do this. And I do believe it's essential. It's just not essential to be on site. We can do this virtually. You guys are doing it. We have people showing up every single day to virtual workouts that are staying with it. And yes, it's hard. And no, it's not what any of us want to be doing. You wouldn't sign up for an on-site gym if you wanted to be online, but you're doing it. And that's the important part, is that you're still staying consistent. This is no different than when we're in the gym. This is no different than when we're on site. The goal is still consistency. It's still moving every day. It's still getting online and getting that community connection with your friends, with your family. I have watched this community strengthen during this, and it's important for us to have people that we can be surrounded by, that are positive, that are supportive, that will be there for you, will help you if you need it, and to strengthen this community through this process, okay? And what I want to talk about today is something that I'm hearing from almost everybody that I'm talking to. So if you're feeling this, you're not alone, okay? Whether you're working from home for the first time, navigating the challenge of having children at home, instead of, this isn't summer, right? This is during a school year. So not only do you have your children home now, but you're also expected to teach them. Now, listen, I've been a teacher, okay? I was a teacher and an educational administrator for a lot of years. Teaching is hard. There's a reason that not everybody should be teachers. Teaching is hard, and teaching your own children is even harder. Having to educate at home is something that not everybody has ever wanted to do because they know where their skill sets are. So the stress level that has been thrown on parents right now is enormous. And it's so important that you're doing things to take care of yourself and that you're giving yourself a little bit of freedom and a little bit of breaks to mess up a little bit. It's okay. You didn't go to school to be a teacher. You didn't train to do that. You became a parent. Parenting and teaching is different. They are two very different roles. Okay. And so it's just so different. So give yourself some freedom to mess up and to just let it go for a day if you need to. It's going to be okay. Kudos to all the teachers out there that are trying to go online. Kudos to everybody right now. Everybody is struggling, whether you're still working a full-time job and you're having to go in and you're fearful for your health because you're essential, or maybe you're working longer hours. Maybe you're working the same hours as you were before. Everybody's got something different, but everybody in this has an added level of fear and an added level of stress. Different levels for different people, but everybody's got something that they're a little bit worried about. Fear of getting sick, fear of the unknown, fear of what happens with our economy, fear of what happens with your business, what happens to your job, what if I can't feed my kids, what if I can't parent my kids properly or teach my kids properly. You're in the same house with your spouses, which isn't always the easiest thing to do. I've worked full-time with my husband before. We owned a business before, and we were together all day long, and then we went home together too. And it's challenging. It's hard. It takes very special levels of strength and courage and faith and trust and patience. And it takes levels of all of that. And we all have bad days. So it's okay. No matter your situation, we're all dealing with something different than we've ever had before. And it's affected our routines. And that's what I want to talk about today. It's affected our normal way of life. It's affected our routine. Almost all of us are seeking to navigate this new normal, but we don't know how. And I think what happened, and this is just from communicating with a bunch of people, okay, I think what happened is that at the very beginning when this first started, we all kind of thought it was going to be a short-term thing. Okay, 2 weeks. We can do anything for 2 weeks, right? We'll close the gym for 2 weeks. We'll stay away from work for 2 weeks. They'll close down the schools for 2 weeks. This is 2 weeks. We can all do this. Now it's no longer 2 weeks. Now it's shifted into much more long-term. I don't know how long it'll be for the gym. Obviously, the gym is out until April 30th for now. But for schools, they've already announced now it's the rest of the school year, unless something changes, unless something massive changes. Big change all at once, no longer 2 weeks. That requires a mindset shift. It requires us to buckle down. It requires us to settle in and accept this as a new normal for the next few months at minimum. It requires us to look at the situation differently. When you're looking at 2 weeks, you can do anything for 2 weeks. We can all power through for 2 weeks. But when you're looking at a long-term change that most of us didn't choose, right? This requires you to think differently. It requires you to behave differently. It requires you to do different things to get different outcomes. And it starts right here. It starts with your mindset. It starts with being able to look at your day and know exactly what's going on and own each day. One day at a time. Own each day. One day at a time. Sometimes 1 hour at a time. It may be 1 minute at a time. And sometimes you're not going to own it at all and you're just going to fall apart. And that's okay too. Okay. This is a trying time for all of us. It's a trying time for everybody. The question is, how hard will you work to be your best self each day? It's not a question of how strong are you. Strong people fall down. It's not a question about whether or not you can be good enough to teach or be good enough to be the parent all the time or be a good enough spouse or be a good enough employer. It's not a question of that. The question is, how willing are you to work at being your best each day? How willing are you to change your mindset and put your effort into being your best self every day? Own your day. And again, sometimes we'll fall and sometimes the day will own us, and that's okay. Okay. So what I want to talk about is this routine. I've got a couple of different videos I'm going to put out over the next couple of days, and I want you guys to watch them. I'm really hopeful that you can take something from it. Now, I've been to conventions all over the world or all over the country. I've been to seminars. I've taken all kinds of online courses. I've read every book that you can imagine. I love to learn. I was an educator for years. I love to learn. But you know what I don't do? I never ever go to a seminar and take every single word down and take every single thing and walk away and go, oh my God, I just have a whole life change. It's usually one thing. I will listen to a 20-minute video and take one thing away from it, but that one thing might change my entire future. This business was opened because of one thing that one mentor said to me one time in a 3-day conference, a 72-hour conference that I did, where I just didn't know if we were ready to go into this business or not. And I knew I wanted to change lives, and I knew I wanted to impact lives positively, and I knew I wanted to help people to find what I had found, but I didn't know how to do it. And I went to this mentorship program with a gentleman named Todd Durkin, and he said one thing to me. He said, you were a teacher. I couldn't get past the idea that I couldn't teach anymore. I always just wanted to teach. That's all I wanted to do. Most of you that know me know that I had to stop doing that when I had my auto accident and injuries, things like that. You can't teach like that. So most of you know that I lost that. And that was very hard for me. And I always hung on to that. I was always upset that I wasn't teaching. If I could be teaching right now in the school system, I'd be doing it because it was the love of my whole world, right? This mentor said to me, just because you're not teaching doesn't mean you can't fulfill your purpose. Why did you start teaching? And I said, I wanted to impact lives. I wanted to help people. And he said, then who's to say you can't do that in a different field? You want to help people. It didn't have to be in that job. It could be in any job. Your goal, your purpose in life was to help people. And I went and realized I could do that in fitness, which I needed in my life. And I loved Camp Rhino so badly. And I needed that back. I was an athlete growing up. I was fit growing up. And then all of a sudden I was in this body I didn't recognize anymore. And I needed this in my life. And I needed that Camp Rhino community to follow me to Boise and go everywhere. Like I just needed it in my head. And he just blew my mind. I needed somebody to tell me that. And I don't know why. So the reason I'm saying that is this. Watch a 20-minute video. You may not like everything I say right now. You may not agree with everything I say right now, and that's okay. If you take one thing away from this, if you hear one thing that you can walk out your door with today and do something with, stay inside with, sorry, don't walk out your door. Stay inside. If you can write it down and think about it and make something different, make something change to better yourself, then you got something out of this video. Okay, that's all that matters is that you take one thing that you can change. You don't have to take 50. So, number one, I want you to think about routines. We are going to reestablish routines. Nobody has a routine right now. Everybody I'm talking to, they're all over the place. They're all over the place. Their routines have been shot to you know what, and they're everywhere. So what you need to start doing is rebuild your routine. Okay. Our brains love routine. Your routines have been established over time. They were created by repetition, daily repetition of the things that you choose to do or the things you naturally do. Some of your routines will help you and some of your routines will hurt you when it comes to reaching your goals. The challenge is to decipher between those two and decide which ones you want to expand on and which ones you want to eliminate. Okay. So right now I want to talk about owning your day by establishing a routine. Here's 5 steps. Please take notes. Write down a couple of things right now, whether it be just the one thing that affects you or everything, however you note take, do this, okay? 5 steps to owning your day. And I apologize that it's kind of covering this up a little bit. Hopefully me moving that will help. Establish a morning routine. Number 1, establish a morning routine that leads to the day that you desire. Okay. Not just everybody's morning routine. Don't go out and read some guru's book and be like, I'm going to do everything this guy did because he's a billionaire and I want to be a billionaire. Don't do everything he did. Take the notes from what he does. Take the notes from what all of the smart people in your life do. Make a routine that works for you. Okay. It needs to lead to the day that you desire, not the guy next to you. You have to be the one in control. This is the biggest part of this. You have to be in control. I have conversations with people all day long that say, oh, the weather's bad. My day is terrible now. Who owns your day, the weather or you? Oh, I had a fight with my boss. My day is terrible now. Who owns your day? That momentary argument, that stressor for that moment, or you? You own your day. You own your attitude. You are the only one that can choose whether that rain ruined your day or whether it refreshed everything outside and made it beautiful and wet and sparkly. You're the one that decides and chooses what your attitude will be. You have to be in control of your day. And that's where establishing a morning routine can start that, okay? Make the choice to manage and plan your day that will help you to grow. How do you start your morning? And I'm asking you this. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm asking you, what do you do in the morning? I want you to choose 2 or 3 things that help you be successful and do them every single morning. 2 to 3 things. Now, notice I said that help you be successful. Don't do the things I do. What do you like to do that is a best practice that will help you be successful? Do you breakfast? Do you shower? Do you work out in the morning? Do you like to read? I love to read first thing in the morning. I read 10 pages every morning. That's all I do. 10 pages. I don't commit to a full book, but I like to read because I like getting positive thoughts in my head right away. I love that. Lay in bed and take a moment. Do you just need a moment to yourself before your day gets started? Do you take certain supplements and stuff that help you and help your immunity and build your strength for the day? Do you cuddle with your spouse or your kiddos? They're all home now, right? If you're home. If you're not home, I know. I'm so sorry that you're not home in this situation right now. I wish everybody could quarantine right now. I do, but obviously there's people that are essential, and thank you again. Cuddling with your spouse and kiddos, though, if you are home, are you taking advantage of that time? Are you doing that? Or is that just a stressor for you and you need to not do that? Are you taking your dog for a walk, getting outside, getting some sunlight, putting your feet in the grass and scrunching them up a little bit, taking a shower? What are you doing that helps you start your morning out right? Doing some yoga, listening to a podcast. What are you doing? Pick 2 or 3 things right now. Pick 2 or 3 things or think on them. And write down a couple of things that you can do every single day. And then here's the trick. Be relentless about those 2 or 3 things. Do not let anybody own your morning. Don't let anybody own your morning. Those of you that know me well know that I do not answer my phone first thing in the morning. I do not check my social media first thing in the morning. I do not check my emails. I will check my text messages just to make sure I don't have an emergency of any sort. But if I don't have emergencies, I do not answer text messages first thing in the morning. I put it right back away, because if it's not a fire that needs put out right this second, I am not going to let anybody else own my day. Be relentless about your morning routine. Do your 2 to 3 things before anybody else has control of your day. This leads to the next thing, number 2, manage your technology time. And what this really leads to is managing your headspace. Okay, and I'm going to talk about mindset in another one of these videos, and it'll spawn a little bit from this. But manage your technology time. Like I just said, I don't check any of those things that you see on the screen. Social media, email, messaging platforms, texting. I don't do any of that first thing in the morning. I don't do it because I own my headspace. No one else can control that. And I don't know about you guys, but when I get on Facebook, there's things I love and I'm like, oh, this is so positive and awesome. And then there's people, complaining about things. And for me, that's just not something that feeds my soul. I don't want to see the negativity. I love honesty. Don't get me wrong. There's a difference, in my opinion, between like authentic, real life, like things and just negativity, just people complaining without any sort of solution or anything at all. And for me, that's just hard. Some people love that, and that's fine. I can't handle that. So I often mute people that are just super, super negative. I just delete them from my page, or I mute them, because I have to own my own headspace. This business wouldn't be in business right now if I didn't own my own headspace, or if our team didn't own their own headspace. You have to be able to do that as a business owner, as a parent, as a spouse. You have to own your own headspace. Keep your mindset where you want it to be. I prefer to have a very positive mindset. I prefer to be somebody that sees the solutions instead of the problems. That's just how I work. It's how I function. And I won't let anybody mess with that. So if somebody is messing with that, I tend to put that off. I don't put it off and not do it. Don't get me wrong. There's other things I will do, and I'll talk about them in another video. But I don't let them mess with my morning. Okay? Manage your technology time. Get on your social media only for what you need, and then get back off of it if it stresses you out. Don't stay on there longer than you have to, and don't read the things that stress you out if you don't have to. Emails, messaging platforms, texting. If it's not an emergency, most questions that people have can wait a couple of hours for you to manage yourself first. You cannot fill someone else's cup unless you fill your own. And all of us are in positions that we fill other people's cups. No matter where we're at, we have to fill other people's cups. So unless you're at least halfway full, you can't give anything to other people. So take care and protect yourself. Be relentless about it. Number 3, use a planner. My planner is my baby. People that know me know that I am a crazy person about my planner. Now, this is this week's planner. My planner doesn't always look this crazy, okay? Usually it looks crazy, but it doesn't usually look like this. I usually have a big 5, and that's what I'll talk about right here. It says, use a planner, write your big 5 things to do each day in it. Okay. And then this isn't just about managing your thoughts. Notice I say it's a way to see the action that you've taken and to appreciate what you've accomplished. Okay. And then, so it's so important to me that I have my big 5 here. Now, this is my big 5 for the week. Okay. This is how my planner works. I write down big 5 things I have to do this week, and I'm not like finishing this week until I get those things done. And then I typically have 5 things I need to do each day. Right now, it's like a big 92 for the week. Business is hectic right now, right? It's a little bit crazy. But that's okay. My planner's kind of, use a planner. I'm still using it though. And here's the reason. We are so bogged down with things in our head. I don't know about you, but for me, literally somebody can tell me they need something at the front desk of our gym. And by the time I get to my office, I've forgotten what they needed. If I don't write it down, and my team is used to this, I tell them, please text that to me. Because when I get back to my office, once it's time for my phone time, I'll check my phone, I'll write it down on my planner, and then it'll get done. If I don't write it down, it's not getting done. And that's because there's so many things going on in our heads that we're forgetful of things. It's so easy to write down goals for the week and then forget your goals for the week. Write them down in a planner, check them every single morning, check them off throughout the day, check it again at nighttime. Use your planner. Don't just have a planner because it feels good to have a planner. Use your planner. It will navigate your life to a successful place. It will. This gym wouldn't be open if I didn't use a planner. Everything I've done to make this gym happen, I've done. Our team has done. My parents have done. Everything everybody involved in this business has done has been written down and noted and meticulously, carefully checked off of a list to make sure we got all of our stuff done. You have to be in charge of what's going on. And I just suggest using a planner. Now, some people love chalkboards. Some people want to put it in their phone. However you do that is fine. Okay. I'm just saying we've got too much going on in our heads to not write it down. All right. Next thing, manage and organize your time. Now, I use something called interval timer. It's all it is. It's just called interval timer. And it's an app on my phone. I'll put it right here. All I do is block time out for focused thinking and focused work time. This, by the way, parents, works great for your children as well. Children love routine. They love routine. I'm going to do another video talking strictly to parents about classroom management and how important it is, because that was the one thing that I loved the most when I was teaching, was managing a classroom well, because it was such a successful environment when you had it managed well. It's so important that that's done. Blocking out time for focused thinking is one of the things I recommend. Manage and organize your time. All I do on my thing here, on my interval timer, is I set my timer for 30-minute increments. And then at the end of each 30 minutes, there's a 5-minute block. So it says work, walk, work, walk, work, walk is what it says. I work for 30 minutes straight. My timer goes off. And for 5 minutes, I get up, I eat, I get outside, I get sunlight, I go breathe somewhere, I stretch, I put clothes away, I do whatever I need to do in between, but I give myself 5-minute breaks about every 30 minutes. I'm like a 12-year-old or 10-year-old, 5-year-old. I need like 30-minute increments. Sometimes if I'm working on a bigger project, I'll block it out for a full 2 hours. But truthfully, I don't want to sit in a chair for 2 hours straight. I don't want to do that. So I sit for 30 minutes and work really hard. Or I stand, for 30 minutes and work really hard. But then I need a 5-minute break every 30 minutes to just do something and breathe and let my brain take a break. Okay. So I do blocked out focus time. Now, here's the important part of that. During that 30-minute focus time, you don't do anything else. I don't check my phone. I don't check my emails. I don't listen to the little dings and bells and things like that go off on our phones and notifications. I just ignore them or I turn them off. I tend to not turn them off. I'm a parent, right? It scares me to turn them off, but I ignore them and I work for 30 minutes straight. I don't let anybody else own that time. And the reason for that is so you actually get stuff done during that 30 minutes. Those 5-minute time periods are breaks. Now I set that up in 3-hour increments. So I do 30 minutes, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, 5 minutes, and it's like 2 hours and 55 minutes as a cycle. And then I cycle through that about 3 or 4 times a day before I'm done for my day, right? So it just depends on what your workload is, how much time you're spending doing that. What you're doing in there is totally up to you. Maybe 30 minutes is meal prep time. Maybe 30 minutes is 30 minutes of you and your kids working on something. Maybe 30 minutes is a bath time. Maybe 30 minutes is work. Whatever it may be for you, that's what it is, okay? So block off that time, shut off all other forms of communication. The last thing I'm going to talk about is establishing a nighttime routine. This nighttime routine needs to lead to the sleep that you need, okay? It's not just for the fun of it. It's to lead to sleep, proper sleep. So what do you do at dinner time? Dinner time is a great time to take a sleep supplement and burn supplements, because about an hour and a half to 2-3 hours later, you're going to want to go to sleep, okay? So it's a nice time to take some of those supplements if you need those. Do you do yoga after dinner? I know some people that love to do yoga like at nighttime because it helps calm their brain down. Do you read? Do you have family time? Do you have TV time? Do you write? Do you draw? What do you do? Update your planner, Okay. The questions I ask myself every day, and I just update it. I just look and see what I did that day. And if there's anything important I need to move to my next day. And then I ask myself, did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Those are 3 questions I ask myself. Those are from Brendon Burchard. And they just stuck with me and I love them. And I ask myself that every single day. Did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Because in my opinion, it's all that matters. Those are the only thing that matters to me at the end of the day is, and I make mistakes and we all do. And I have bad days and we all do. But at the end of the day, did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Those things matter to me. Okay. Bedtime routine. These are important. Lights off, technology off, have a cool environment. By cool, I mean not hot, okay? Not like, hey, that's a cool environment. Like a not hot environment. You want to do that to set yourself up physically for a really good night's sleep. And then here's the big one. And this one was huge and life-changing for me. I don't take sleep supplements all the time anymore. I used to take them all the time. I was a terrible, terrible sleeper. Now I go to bed and I wake up at the same time every single day. And if I go to bed and wake up at the same time every single day, I get great sleep. Now, that's just me, okay? I don't deal with nighttime terrors. I don't deal with things like that. There are people with different reasons that they struggle with sleep. And there's times that I still need a sleep supplement. And there's a lot of people out there that probably can benefit from melatonin or a sleep supplement of some sort, okay? And that's okay. We all do that differently. For me, I struggled with sleep for years, and I found that going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time every single day made a big difference. Now, this is a good time for those of you that are working from home or that are quarantined from home to kind of test this out. What I wanted to find out when I first started this was my natural circadian rhythm. Your body wants to sleep and wants to wake at normal natural times, and it just depends on how your body responds to that. So what I did was I went to bed at the same time every night, and I didn't set an alarm, and I did that for about a week. And I watched what time did I wake up every day. So I would go to bed at like 10 o'clock every single night. And I would just like naturally wake up at about 5:30, 6 o'clock every day. That was my circadian rhythm. It was telling my body that my body likes to sleep 7.5 to 8 hours. I did that kind of on an average. And then I set my sleep times. So it's a kind of a good time to test that. And if you want to talk about that more, please let me know. Ultimately, 5 things that I want to talk about. Establish a morning routine that leads you to the day that you desire. Manage your technology time. Manage your social media. Don't let it manage you. Nobody owns your day but you. Okay. Obviously, there's things we have to do. Obviously, there's fires in front of you. Obviously, there's people that need you. And we can't just ignore all those things, and that's fine. This is also a lot of people are still working. And none of these things negate that. None of these things are different. These are all things we should all be doing even when we're working. Now, I realize that some positions right now have crazy, crazy hours compared to maybe what they're used to. And you might have to adjust things a little bit to fit your new life right now. But remember, guys, this is our new norm for now. This is not a short-term thing anymore. So we can't just write it off anymore as, it's okay if we all fall apart for 2 weeks. It is time to pick ourselves back up and find out how to move forward in this so that you're still reaching your goals, so that you're still healthy every day, that you're the healthiest human being that you can be, so you can take care of the people around you, so that you can protect the ones that you love, so that you can protect yourself, your own mindset, your own body, learn something new, challenge yourself to take these 5 things and do them. Okay. 2 to 3 things first thing in the morning and then stick to it. Manage your technology time. 3, use a planner. 4, manage and organize your time. And 5, establish a nighttime routine that leads to the sleep that you need. I hope that these 5 things are helpful to you guys. Like I said, I'm going to do a couple more of these just because in speaking to people, I'm finding we have such different needs than we have in the past. We all need these. Don't get me wrong. We all need these all the time. These are things I've always done, by the way. These are not things I started during a quarantine. And I do think that there's a reason that I feel like I cope with chaos really well. Chaotic situations don't bother me as much as they probably should. I deal with stress really well, and I cope with situations like this really well. Chaos, I kind of thrive in it. I don't like it, but I thrive in it, right? And I think it's because I'm very routine oriented. I think those routines have helped me over the years. So my challenge to you is this: whatever the situation you're in, everybody has situations. Some people have easier situations or harder situations. Whatever the situation you're in, choose something or all of these things that you can implement. If your situation is just too much and you can only take one, then do one. And remember that all of those things, they should depend on what works for you. Not what works for me, not what works for the next person, but what works for you. So pick 1 or 3 or 5 of these things and implement them back into your life. What I can't wait to hear, what I want to hear at the end of this day, is that all of our people are getting their lives back under control. We can't control everything happening around us. We cannot control all of the things that are happening around us in our lives, but we can control how we see it, what we do with it. We control how we feel each day. We control what we do each day, what actionable steps we take with each day of our lives. We control that. No one else controls that for you unless you're in a position right now where people are in charge of you and you're working very difficult jobs right now. Even still, your mindset is still up to you. And this is why we talk to people every day, and one person's doing amazing and doing great and loving it and thriving, and another person is struggling. And it just comes back to mindset. It comes back to taking action. It comes back to knowing what you need, not what someone else needs. You don't have to go write a book in the next month. You don't have to go, create the next viral virtual company that becomes billionaires. You don't have to do that. It's okay to set it down and relax and take time with your family and find peace in your mind. Whatever you need to do, the challenge is to own it. The challenge is make it yours, be okay with it, forgive yourself, and own it. Own it. Choose your day. Choose your day, okay? Own your day. You own it. All right. I love all of you guys. Keep taking care of each other. Keep taking care of yourselves. If you have any questions, if you have anything you want to say, please reach out to me, okay? I love all of you, and I hope this is helpful in some way.